What is going on, beautiful people? Did you know back in the 1940s through like the 1960s, during the time of Jim Crow, in that era, there was something called the Negro Motorist Green Book. And this Negro Motorist Green Book, it contained a list of places, establishments, restaurants, gas stations, and everywhere that black people were welcome. So people could be safe in their travels as they're traveling through the South at that time where it was segregated, and it could be dangerous to end up in a sundown town. It could be dangerous to end up in a place where black folks weren't welcome. So today I'm doing a video on the top 11 cities in the United States of America for black Americans to buy land to farm, because as we know, even in 2025, there are still sundown towns that exist. There are still places where black people aren't necessarily welcome, although it's not necessarily explicitly said, but still there are people, there are people who still have racism and stuff like that. So it's important to buy land in areas that are welcoming to black people. So I'm going to get into that list today and stick around to the end. All right. All right, so in addition to just being, friendly for black people to buy land in the areas, I also factored in affordability. I factored in the fact of, the type of land you're going to get and all of that type of stuff. And also like the black populations around that land and everything, or around the cities and everything like that I'm going to name. So it takes into account, this list takes into account all of those factors that I just named. And then at the end, I'm going to just give you the regions where I suggest you look into, because there are other cities. These are just the top 11 cities that I found with my research. But before we get into it, man, if you like this type of content, please hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing over here at Set Apart Gardens. We teaching self-sufficiency, man, and we talking about everything getting back to the land and being self-sufficient. You know what I'm saying? So please hit that like button and that subscribe button. All right, so number 11, Allendale County, South Carolina. Is where I would suggest buying land, due to the simple fact of course, you got climate, it's good climate and everything like that. South Carolina, there's a huge black population in South Carolina, but specifically in Allendale County, there's a huge black population of black farmers and everything like that. So you also get the chance to network and, just have other people around you that look like you, that are doing the same thing that you're doing, farming, homestead, and all that type of stuff. Allendale County, South Carolina is located, it's just south of Augusta, Georgia, but it's kind of like in the central region, but to the west of South Carolina. So it's between Hilton Head and Macon, South Carolina. So it's kind of in between that, but it's not too far from Augusta, Georgia. Also, some things that you want to look for when buying land is the proximity to other, bigger cities, to the point to where if you need to go, like say you don't have certain stores or certain resources in the town that you're living in, if you're 45 minutes to an hour away from a bigger city that has all the amenities that you need, that's what you want to look for. You don't want to be so far out there that it's going to take you, an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to somewhere, where you can be able to get resources that you need, be able to go to big box stores. You want to kind of be in a nice distance, not too far, but not too close. All right, so number 10 brings us to Muskogee, Oklahoma. Muskogee, Oklahoma, though not in the traditional South or Southeast, it's home to historic black towns and different things like that. So there's a large black population, but one of the good things about this area of Oklahoma is the land is cheap in rural areas. You see what I'm saying? And you're not too far from Tulsa. It's south of Tulsa. You see what I'm saying? But you also have large black populations in the area of Muskogee. Like I said, historic black towns were in that area and everything like that. And a lot of black people still dwell in that area, and farm and homestead in that area. So it's definitely a good place. It's a little bit more isolated, but like I said, you're not too far from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm pretty sure there are other nice sized cities around there that you can travel to if you don't have the amenities that you want. But cheaper land, black population, friendly for black people, historically had black towns and black businesses and establishments. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a win-win. So if you're from that area, if you've been looking in the Oklahoma area, I definitely recommend looking in Muskogee, Oklahoma, for some land if you want to buy the homestead and farm. All right, so number 9 takes us to Ocala, Florida. Fun fact, I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, so Ocala is not really too far from me. I want to say, well, from Jacksonville, I want to say it's like 2 hours or something like that. But Ocala, Florida, it has a strong equestrian type community, type of culture. For those of you who don't know what equestrian is, it's basically horses. I'm saying they're big into horses. North Florida in general is big into horses. Even where I'm from in Jacksonville, you know, if you go pretty much like to Middleburg and, you know, those places like going towards, you know what I'm saying, the west side of Jacksonville, Florida, Normandy, all that, they have, you know, big horse centers and stuff like that. So the equestrian community is pretty big in North Florida. But Ocala, the weather is great. You see what I'm saying? You got that Florida weather. It's not South Florida weather, but it's still Florida weather because, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't get as cold as, you know, other places. So there are things that you can grow year round living in Ocala. Affordable land. You know, North Florida, the land is more affordable than South Florida. In Ocala, the land is affordable as well. And, you know, again, the black presence. You see what I'm saying? You're going to be around, you know, a good amount of black people. It is friendly for black people. I know a lot of black people from Ocala, good people. And Jacksonville is not too far from you. Gainesville is not too far from you. Orlando ain't too far from you. I mean, pretty much all the major hot spots in Florida ain't too far from you. You got Tampa, you got all that type of stuff where you could be a hop and a skip away, you know what I'm saying, from those type of places if you want to go. But Ocala itself, it has a lot of amenities though. You know, it's a nice size city. It's a decent size city. So definitely look into Ocala, Florida. All right, number 8 brings us to Fayetteville, North Carolina. The area of Fayetteville, some people call it Vietnam. I shout out to Fayetteville. I've been in Fayetteville a few times. That's where Fort Bragg is at. I'm not sure if it's still named Fort Bragg, but yeah, that's where Fort Bragg is at. It's a huge military base, huge military installation, but there's affordability, you know, as far as land wise, it's affordable to buy land in Fayetteville, North Carolina, combined with the large black population. You're not going to be out there by yourself. You see what I'm saying? It is friendly for black people. Also, you have access to resources, you know, through the USDA and different things like that, the offices of the USDA. But also, this is the thing, like, these populations have a large percentage of black farmers. And when you are around a large percentage of black farmers, you're able to network. You see what I'm saying? You're able to network with these other black farmers and you guys can benefit each other so much. You see what I'm saying? They might raise cattle. You might want to just do horses and whatever the case may be. And you guys get together and you bring your expertise. There's opportunities for barter and trade. There's opportunities to learn from, you know what I'm saying, other black farmers. Okay, if they've been farming here for so long, you know, what are some things that they can teach you about the area, about growing certain crops? So, you know, the opportunities are endless when you can network with people that surround you, that look like you, and that, you know, have your best interests at heart. So Fayetteville, North Carolina is an area to look into. Number 8, Cookeville, Tennessee. It's central Tennessee. It's between Nashville and Knoxville. It's actually a recommended place for homesteaders due to the taxes, you know what I'm saying, the affordability of the land, you know, and it's just favorable to homesteading. And, you know, there's a nice sized black population as well. Now, of course, you're going to be a little ways from Nashville and Knoxville, but I'm pretty sure, you know, you can find the amenities that you're looking for in that region of Tennessee. But it's a place to look into because when it comes to homesteading, like specifically homesteading and farming as well, but you kind of want to look at the laws surrounding the areas where you plan on buying land to homestead and to farm. You want to make sure they're favorable. You want to make sure the taxes, you see what I'm saying? Like, you can file for the Homestead Act and different things like that, and you will have lower taxes on your land, property taxes and things like that. You always want to look for that type of stuff when you're buying land because it will benefit you in the long run. Because if the laws are too harsh on homesteaders and farmers, then it's going to be kind of defeating the purpose of you homesteading if you got to pay a lot of taxes, or, you know, you're limited on what you can do on your own land. So the laws are pretty favorable in that area. So look into Cookeville, Tennessee. All right, number 6 brings us to Tyler, Texas, or really East Texas in general. East Texas has affordable farmland, affordable land that you can buy, but also historically, this is a area that has a large presence of black farmers, black cowboys, all that type of. So there are black agricultural networks in this region of East Texas, but Tyler, Texas specifically is a place where I recommend you looking into. Look at the land, look at the prices of the land, you know, in Tyler, Texas and surrounding areas, and just in East Texas all over. You know what I mean? But this is a large area of black farmers in Texas, in East Texas specifically. So you can't go wrong. And also it's favorable climate, you know what I mean? You're going to be able to grow a lot of the things that you want to grow. It's going to be good weather. It's not going to get too cold, you see what I'm saying? And you know, you're going to be around people that look like you that are doing the same thing you're doing, and you're going to have the opportunities for networking. So Tyler, Texas, that's number 6. All right, number 5 brings us to Little Rock, Arkansas. Now Little Rock, Arkansas has a low cost per acre, you see what I'm saying, price point. So you could definitely buy acres for a cheaper price than you could in a lot of the United States. And also Little Rock has a large black presence, you see what I'm saying? But Little Rock is favorable for small scale farming and people who want a homestead because of the price per acre. You can go and buy an acre or two and you know, have a small scale farm or a homestead, you know what I'm saying, and still be around a lot of black people, still have access to a lot of different markets and things like that, and have the networking aspect. And then of course you have the climate, you see what I'm saying, good climate, you know what I mean? Because I know, and this is the thing, like a lot of black people, we typically prefer to be in more warmer, hotter climates, you know, than just colder climates and things like that, because we do well in the heat, of course. But so, you know, all these places are good places for, you know, good weather conditions and things like that. But like I say, Little Rock specifically, the cost per acre, you can't really beat it. So look into Little Rock. All right, number 4, Jackson, Mississippi. Now, of course, Jackson, Mississippi, you know, it's home to HBCU and all that type of stuff. So it's a large black presence in Jackson, Mississippi, but it also has affordable land in Jackson, Mississippi, and in Mississippi in general, but specifically Jackson if you want to be around people that look like you and different things like that. Also, Jackson, Mississippi is an area that has a lot of black farmers who produce, you know, a lot of things for the USDA. So a large black farming producing area in Jackson, Mississippi. So you'll have that opportunity to network with those farmers and learn from them, you know what I'm saying, and just establish yourself in that area if that's what you choose to do. But look into Jackson, Mississippi, man, I'm telling you. All right, so number 3, Long County, Georgia. Long County, Georgia is in southeast Georgia. It has cities like Ludowici, Glenville, and different things like that. But Long County, Georgia is where I specifically reside and where I bought land. And what I can tell you is that Long County, Georgia has, you know, affordable land prices like no other. And one of the common things about Long County is they sell 5-acre plots of land. A lot of times, you know, you can get a home built on a 5-acre plot, or you can just buy it outright, you know, and build your own home and do however you want to do it. But also favorable laws. You don't have to, so for instance, on my property, say if I want to build something on my property, I don't have to go and get a permit. I can pretty much build what I want to build on my property. I can pretty much do what I want to do on my property. There's no restrictions on animals or nothing like that. So you're pretty much free to do whatever it is that you want to do. And we're probably about 55 minutes from Savannah, not too far from Jessup. You know, we have Hinesville right here. So you're in the vicinity of a lot of things. So say you don't have certain things in Long County, like big box stores, you can go over to Hinesville. Hinesville don't got it, you can go over to Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill don't got it, you can go over to Savannah. And I'm pretty sure Savannah will have it. So you're close to the coast. You're in the low country, so you know it's a lot of stuff you could do. But I definitely recommend Long County. Also, there's a large black farmer presence here in Long County. I did a video titled "It's More Black Farmers Than You Think." Look that up. It's like my second most popular video on my channel. But that's where I went to explore the Berries. They're a black family. Last name is Berry. Their farm. They farm over 100-something acres. They do cattle. You know, they do row crops and different things like that. So go check that video out, man. It's a lot more black farmers than you think. And I was able to network with them, get in contact with them. So I buy hay from them sometimes and, you know, just network with them, man. But there's a lot more of us black farmers and homesteaders in this area. So Long County, Georgia, I definitely recommend. All right, number 2 takes us to Georgia again, but this is Macon, Georgia, Central Georgia. Central Georgia is a great place for homesteading, buying affordable land, good quality land as well. Central Georgia has that good, I don't know if you ever heard of that good Georgia clay, that red dirt. You see what I'm saying? They got that in the Central Georgia region. but Macon specifically because it's a large black population in Macon, and then the proximity to Atlanta. You know, Macon is not too far from Atlanta at all, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, if that. So, you know, you have that close proximity to Atlanta. You have a large black presence in central Georgia, a large black farming presence. But also, let's say you got certain things you want to sell. You have access to the markets in Atlanta and just the central Georgia region in general. So there's, you know, places for profit there, especially servicing and providing stuff for a lot of black businesses. You can, you know, grow certain things for certain businesses in the central Georgia area or in even Atlanta, you see what I'm saying, and have a, you know, a good working relationship with different people. So the opportunities are endless, but Macon, Georgia and central Georgia specifically, that's a great area and region to buy land in. So look into Macon. Right, so the #1 spot takes us to Alabama, specifically Birmingham. Birmingham, of course, has a large black presence, but Birmingham and that area in general, not only does it have affordable land, you see what I'm saying, in the more rural areas, but it also has a strong, one of the strongest black farmer presences, if that's a word, black farmer presence, whatever. But it has that in the Birmingham area. You have access to a lot of resources through the USDA and different things like that, access to services, and like I said, you're right close to Birmingham, so you can go to Birmingham for your needs and different things like that if you choose to buy land in the more rural areas. So you have that, but the most important thing is you're going to be around people that look like you, and it's going to be a place where you're welcome because there are people that look like you already doing it, already farming, already homesteading. But look into Birmingham, Alabama. That is the #1 place. I would say I'm kind of biased. I still say I was gonna put Long County, Georgia, where I live at, as #1. However, the research that I've done, it took me to Birmingham. You see what I'm saying? But anywho, these are the top 11 places that I recommend black people, black Americans buy farmland, land for homesteading, just land in general. If you just want just land, that's what I would recommend, the top 11 cities. Now the regions I recommend is anywhere in the South, anywhere in the Southeast specifically, because historically that's where most of us are concentrated at. So North Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, East Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, you see what I'm saying, Tennessee, all of these places, Kentucky, even though Kentucky is not necessarily the South, but Kentucky as well is a good area as well to buy land. But specifically the Southeast is the region that I recommend you buying land in, because of the simple fact of, like I said, you're going to be around majority black people, but also the affordability factor. And just depending, like, you could pick and choose from these different cities that I told you in these different states. You don't have to just, you know what I'm saying, go with one place. You got an abundance of options. But if you enjoy this type of content, man, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. If you want access to this list, go and join my free Facebook group. It's called the Set Apart Tribe Tier 1. I'm going to have this document in there, so you can have it as a reference tool. You can print it out. It's completely free. But just join my Facebook group, man. I go live in there multiple times, and I post a lot of exclusive content in there. If you want to access this, go ahead and do that. But real quick before I let y'all go, places that you want to look for land at. You see what I'm saying? If you're searching for land, you can look online for on websites like realtor.com. When you go on realtor.com, all you're going to do is filter out the different things. So, you know, you're not necessarily looking for a house. You see what I'm saying? Unless you want to buy a house on some land, but you want to filter your search to say, okay, I'm looking for this amount of acres or whatever the case may be. You can filter it out to specifically look in different regions, cities, states, or whatever, and the amount of acres you want, the price point that you have. Also, Zillow.com is a good one. But the #1 place I would recommend is landwatch.com. Landwatch.com, it has all the different postings for land for sale, in all of the states, all of the regions. You can break it down by region. You can break it down by county, state, whatever. So landwatch.com. But yeah, that's what I wanted to let y'all know, man. If you enjoyed this video, please like this. Also, drop a comment down below of a place that I might have missed, but that you highly recommend for black people to buy farmland or land to homestead. Drop it down in the comment section below. But like I always say, man, he who has the power to feed you also has the power to starve you. See y'all on the next one.
Bombs over Baghdad really ain't that bad. Little wiretap, yes, yes. Little dodge in the IRS. Little haven from the taxman.